I found them a pain in the backside. And if anything, if I started again, I don't think I'd do them. The implementation is fine. It's the evolution of the fixed fees. So what happens if someone is paying you, whatever, $5,000 a year, and you're managing, they're a great client, and we'll just use it as a percentage base because it's easy. They're doing 500 grand. They sell their business for, 15 million, and they're just much more complicated. Well, okay, you up their fixed fee. How do you work out where their fixed fee should be? How are you pricing it? And all of these things with all of your clients every single year, it just becomes a pain in the backside to manage.
Yeah.
So I'm not against fixed fees at all. I just think a percentage model that ratchets down as you get over certain hurdles is just far easier.
Right, so we've got Sam Sloma, Engage FS.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So we're just trying to work out how long we'd known each other. I think it's about 10 or 11 years. So you were there at the inception.
Yes, one of the original members of Next Gen.
One of the OGs.
Proud to be.
One of the OGs. Right, so for anyone who hasn't heard of you, come on, let's give a quick rundown.
Okay.
Where you've come from. And we're going to get stuck into where you are today.
How far back do you want to go?
It's up to you, mate.
Fine. Okay, so I am managing director of Engage FS. The business was set up in 2017. Prior to that, I started life at a discretionary fund manager in 2010. I then went and worked for First Wealth, which is a great company, independent business, and then left to set up Engage in 2017. So prior to all of that, I left school at 16 to play football professionally. I played at varying levels, but mainly lower levels, for 10 years before sort of finding my way into financial services. So, that's a very quick potted history. I'm a father of 3 daughters, husband, a family man, as sort of my defining features, I guess.
Okay, so first question. I don't know the answer to this. How the hell did you go from footballer to discretionary fund management? Just tell me about that journey.
Yeah, good question. So as I was leaving football, and my wife and I had made the decision that football wasn't going to give us the lifestyle that we wanted. Live in London and houses and holidays and all those kind of things. I was looking for what I was going to do. And I was speaking to friends and people I knew in different industries, so property or recruitment. And a friend of mine said, look, there's an investment firm that are starting a sports division. They want to find someone who can bridge the gap between finance and sport. And they've been looking for a big name ex-player. They were looking at like Tony Adams or Sol Campbell. They couldn't find anyone with a big name that they wanted to hire or that would work. So they got introduced to me. I met the MD. He and I got on quite well. And they basically said, look, we can't find the right profile of person, so we'll come all the way down and give you a go. And so that was how I got into finance.
And what was it like? Like, I mean, had you done any
Zero
finance or money stuff before
Nothing.
that? But you were just football?
No,
down.
I remember the first day I went in there. It was based in Houston. They had like $3 billion of assets, and I sat in a room with one of the economists that were there, and he started talking. This is cash. This is bonds. This is shares. This is don't put all your eggs in one basket, and sort of real at the bottom basics of finance and money 101. So, what was it like? It was interesting. It was a baptism of fire because really they gave us a blank page to go and just build a division. And the pros and cons of that. The pros were that they really taught us how to hustle and to go and have meetings and to do business development, and sort of we were targeted on a number of meetings that we had, which I hated, but in hindsight was good. One of the downsides of it was they had I think it was a monthly meeting where all the teams would get together, and it would be like, right, the UK team has brought in 50 million this month, and the US team is 20 million. The sports division was like 50 grand or 100. It was embarrassing. We obviously knew it was going to take time to build, but yeah, looking back, it was those meetings were tough. Company wide, looking at our numbers for everyone else's was humbling. So that was how I got started. I did my investment management certificate whilst there, and culturally, it didn't work for me. You had to be suited and booted. I had to be clean shaven, which I hated. So it was a really good learning curve. But ultimately, when I realised that, or when I felt that investing was a secondary part of the business, was when I thought, right, I need to go and find somewhere where they do other bits that my clients are asking me about.
So how many years in was that? How long did you do it
So I
for?
started there in 2010, and I left there at the end of 2013. So
Two,
yeah,
2 or 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
But did you do all your exams, IMC, all
I
that sort of
did
stuff?
IMC and the diploma there, and then when I went to First Wealth, I pushed for chartered and got my chartered done there.
Okay, so football, discretionary management.
Yep.
So what, sales, more sales, like
Yeah.
selling investments, all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff?
it was investment management, but really they wanted they wanted to build assets under management. So we had to go and sell
Yeah.
footballers
So,
putting
so
money
go
away
so
and build
going
it.
back then, you'd had no sales background, no sales experience at all, or
Well,
yes?
when I was playing, yeah, I used to have a car business, so I was leasing
Did
cars for
did not
people.
did not know this.
Yeah, again, so hindsight is interesting. I had a website in 2003, sourceyourcar.com. I don't know if it's still available, probably not. And I used to broker finance deals between the Volkswagen, BMW, Audi for friends and clients and people I knew, which is weird. And actually, if I look back, one of the mistakes I made is I should have done YouTube back then because it would have been a perfect job, cars and all that kind of stuff. So that's I had some sales experience, but broadly, I wouldn't say I was a hustler. I sort of knew how to communicate with people, and I think as I get older, communication is one of my strong points.
Mm.
So yes, I had no sales experience, but I think I was good. I'm a good people person. So
Yeah.
I think they saw that as someone who could speak to people, speak to footballers
Well
specifically.
pivoted away from being Sam Sloma car dealer. I love
Yes.
that. I love that. Right. So obviously you did discretionary management 2 or 3 years, and then obviously a lot of people in this sector will know who First Wealth are. Serious financial planning firm. Just tell us about
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah. So I went there when they were relatively early in their journey. I met Rob and Anthony. Really like both. And going there was like, wow, this is how it should be done. I could see immediately they had a brilliant business, great guys, and loved my 3 or 4 years there. It was brilliant. I think, when I look back, the only thing I think that was missing was, or for me, was I couldn't necessarily see a path quick enough to becoming maybe a partner or equity based. Now I'm sure I would have got there because I was doing well and they knew that, and we had a great relationship, but I really was kind of ready to do it on my own as well. It's not a them thing, it was more a me thing. And I'm still quite good friends with both of them.
Yeah.
And again, they've carried on growing to the stratosphere, so I have nothing but utmost respect for them. They really taught me how the business works and how it can be enjoyable, and how when you do a good job for people and you build wealth and you provide a service that people like it and they're happy to pay because you're doing a good job for them. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a
I,
real
I
good
I think you were
foundation.
quite lucky to find a firm like First Wealth, but
Yeah.
you were always going to own your own firm. I've known you for a long time now, and
Yeah,
you've always had that itch to scratch, haven't you?
I think so. Look, again, I sort of that business. You could imagine being a partner and helping that business grow, definitely, and that wouldn't have been a bad route. But similar to Anthony and Rob, they're strong, independent personalities. Those two. So I think I would have wanted something of my own at some point, like you said. So again, it's not a them thing. It's more I wanted to run it and have a bit more control and a bit more of shaping of how I want that business to
So,
run.
so, so what age were you when you started your own business?
Okay, so 2017, I would have been 35.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
quite a big call at the time.
yeah, a
How
big
how
call.
how was that call made?
So I think I'd made a few big calls. I mean, going into finance at 27, so 2010. No, I wasn't 27, was I? How old was I? 28 in 2010. Um, and 5 or 6 years later, wanting to start my own business was basically because you have to do it at some point. And the longer I stayed at First Wealth, the harder it would have been to leave, just because, again, everything was great there. Rob and I sat next to each other, and we used to have a proper laugh most days. Quite similar in personality. So I had to do it. I had my third child on the way. She was born in January 18.
It's a natural time to start a new business, isn't it?
Look, I had a number of clients that I knew were I was
Yeah.
super tight with. They were friends. We were personal relationships. They were doing really well, and I knew if I said to them, they were business owners, they were going to come with me. So again, I was quite upfront with the guys at First Wealth that I knew, I didn't want to cause them any problems, but I knew the clients were going to come. So we kind of had that conversation. Was quite upfront with them, and yeah, I didn't feel it was a massive risk. I knew it was going to be hard work. I didn't see a risk. I saw this is the opportunity, and if I don't do it now, when are you going to do it? So
Yeah. So just tell us about that phase. It's a question I get all the time. So I get loads of people coming to me and saying, starting my new financial planning business. Obviously, you've got to have money aside, all that sort of stuff. Just tell us about, the pre-build and all that sort of stuff. What you were doing in the background.
I think we were just grafting. We sort of knew that we had, I think, about 25 clients that were sort of earmarked to come across as friends. I knew what that meant in terms of assets. I knew what that meant in terms of fees.
So what was that?
You can ask me. I think it was about, we did the first full year of revenue. Engaged did 180,000. So it
Okay.
must have been 20 clients.
Which is good enough to pay the bills, basically.
Good enough to pay the bills there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So I took 100 grand from my mother as a sort of startup investment. She had she has a percentage in Engage, even though we paid her back. She's still got 1%.
Well done, Mrs. Sloma.
Yeah, Mrs. Sloma, thank you very much. So we took that as a buffer to sort of guarantee our salary for a period of time.
Yeah.
And then really it was like, right, we kind of know what we want to do. We wanted to use Timeline, who had just started. We wanted to use, they weren't called Timeline back then. I can't remember what they were called.
Betafolio.
Betafolio, yes.
Yeah.
Well done. We wanted to use Transact, and we had a framework of what we wanted to do.
So when you say we, who's we?
So I was taking Stevie, who's my sister, but she's my CFO and has been with me obviously since day one. And that's what I meant by we. So she'd never worked in financial services, but wasn't overly happy in her job. And I know me and her are very different. So I'm quite a sort of look forward. I want to say visionary because you sound like a knob, but
so I knew that you took Stevie, but I
Yeah.
didn't know it was your sister.
Yes, this is my sister, one of my two sisters. So Stevie is very different to me. She's very cautious. She's very operations led. She's very methodical, whereas I'm like big picture and go, go, go. And it's actually been brilliant partnership since day one. So she learnt the operations of running an FS firm and all the pain in the backside stuff that we have to deal with from a regulatory point of view and from compliance and all the stuff that needs operationally. She had a baptism of fire. But I was basically saying to her, look, don't worry, we've got revenue coming. I know they're going to come across. We're going to be okay. And that's really what we did. The first 6 months was literally, we need to get all of these clients signed up, ongoing as quickly as possible. Let's go. And that's really what it was. It was just going out and grinding.
Any mistakes you made in those first 6 months?
I haven't thought about those first 6 months in quite a while. I'm sure there was quite a few mistakes. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean,
Any clients that you shouldn't have taken across that you did?
No, not really. I mean, I think as you evolve as a business, you start to think, right, would I take those clients on again? And the answer might be no. But they were there when you needed them, and we want to service them, and they're good people. So I think that's how the evolution of some of the businesses work. And I don't think it's I think it's the worst thing in the world. It's just one of those things that you have to go through to realize. And I've heard that probably on 25 podcasts, but it's a mistake it's not a mistake you have to make, but you need revenue. So there's the balance between, right, we need to generate this revenue. That client might grow. They've got other things going on. Versus, right, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to be very stoic about what we do and really not compromise on that at all. I don't think we were there.
Here's a difficult question. If you didn't have that revenue, would you have made the call?
Yeah, that is a question I've thought about a lot. The answer is, I don't know. Sorry to sit on the fence. I think I had 2 children, one on the way, mortgage, all those things. It would have been much harder for me to do that, no doubt. I think eventually I would have done it, but would I have done it without the safety net of having clients? I'm really not sure.
And how was your network at that time? So, like when you started your own advice, you had your own clients, advice from you had your own clients, you had 25 clients, but were you strong in the professional introducers? Were you comfortable with people trusted you, knew what you did, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think I'd sold myself that
Yeah.
I could do the job and that I was a good advisor and that people trusted me. And I think the network I had in terms of professional introducers in sport was strong, and accountants and lawyers was pretty good. It's not like it is now, but obviously we're nearly 10 years into
Yeah.
Rowan Engage, but I think I felt comfortable that I could grow at a sustainable level with new business because the foundations from the discretionary fund management of meetings, seeing people, going out, hustle brings clients is just something that I think works, whether we like it or not, and whether people talk about lead gen, old fashioned going out, seeing people and putting in that time still works. So
And
I had that in my mind.
yeah. So we're going to talk about the sports bit in a bit, but
Yep.
I think the first 12 to 18 months is something that's really important for the listeners, particularly those that are thinking of doing this. So with revenue, without revenue, what else did you do in those first 12 to 18 months? And what are the things you did well, and then what are the things you didn't do so well?
So one of the things that we didn't do well, and actually one of the mistakes we made, looking back, as I said, I haven't thought about this for a while. We took an office in London, a two-person office that was like 2.5 grand a month or something, which doesn't sound like a load of money now, but when you've got no revenue, it was like we really don't need this. Why have we done that? And actually, the only reason we got out of that is because we found someone else to take over the lease on that office. Otherwise, it wasn't going to kill us. But it was just one of those things that we were spending loads of money coming into town. We were spending loads of money in the office, and it just became something that became a bit of a bottleneck around or a noose around our neck. Sorry, for want of a better phrase. So that's something that we didn't do overly efficiently. What did we do well? We were just super focused. Stevie was able to do the paperwork and to get on top of Transact and build a relationship with the guys there so they could help us. We did a bulk transfer. I was able to spend loads of time going to see clients and tell them what was happening and tell them it's go time and, put all those wheels in motion. But having that money behind us, that 100K to say, right, you don't need to, you want to get going quick, but you don't need to rush. So take your time, build out the process, build out the sort of foundations of the business, who's doing what, who's responsible for what. I think all of that was one of the reasons that we started strongly and were able to
Yeah.
grow quite well.
And I know it's your sister, but could you have done it without Stevie?
Um, the answer to that is probably not. Again, this gets worse as I get older, but I'm really good at what I'm good at, and I'm that side of stuff. I reckon I could have done it if I had to. I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it. So that hire, although it was expensive from day one, it's been invaluable. And again, the same thing even today. Like she does so much in the business that it would be difficult for us to function without her for sure.
Okay, so let's take a pivot now. So I remember chatting to you about you taking me business. You can't remember it, but we were having brunch in an American place in Manchester, and you came and sat down and said, "What do you reckon?" And I said, "Yes, all sounds great." And then you had a big bee in your bonnet about fixed fees. We're going to set up from day one your fixed fees.
Yeah.
So I was obviously doing fixed fees, and I was like, "Okay, I get it. He's got clients. He's got AUM. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes." But you were like evangelical at the time. We're going to do it fixed fees. Even in the press, it's like we're a fixed fee financial planner. Talk about that.
Well, we're still a fixed fee financial planning firm.
Correct.
So I think.
But was that an easy sell to your clients at that time?
Yeah. So I think fixed fees are a good selling point, no doubt. You say that, irrespective, or I would say, irrespective of, where we invest, our fee's going to be the same. You know what you're paying us. It's very transparent. I like it as a selling point. I think there's lots of ways that it could be in the client's best interests. So clients know what they're paying, and it's very simple, easy to understand.
And how did that go? So obviously, First Wealth weren't fixed fee.
Yep.
You were fixed fee.
Yeah.
Like, how did that conversation go? Did you like
So,
say, yeah,
there's an origin story for it. So I had a client who's still a client now. He's one of my biggest clients. He sold his business. We were managing about £1 million for him, and he was going to put in another £1 million from the sale of the business, and that was going to cost him 10 grand initial, 1%, and additional 10 grand ongoing at 1%. Again, these numbers are broad, just for context. And he said to me, well, what are you doing for the additional fees? And I wasn't really able to articulate what I was doing for the additional fees. And at that point, it felt a little bit unfair to double his fees without me doing much additional work. And I think I still have that feeling around fixed fees and percentages. However, my feeling around the fees is much less angelical. I'm not an evangelist for fixed fees. I actually, I think since I set up, I probably haven't been an evangelist for fixed fees. And if anything, if I started again, I don't think I'd do them.
So let's dig into that. That's really interesting.
I mean, I'm quite upfront with this. I think I found them a pain in the backside. So
the implementation, you mean, or
the implementation is fine. It's the evolution of the fixed fees. So what happens if someone is paying you whatever, I don't know, 5 grand a year, and you're managing, they're a great client, and we'll just use it as a percentage base because it's easy. They're doing 500 grand, and they sell their business for 15 million, and they're just much more complicated. Well, okay, you up their fixed fee. How do you work out where their fixed fee should be? How are you pricing it? And all of these things with all of your clients every single year, it just becomes a pain in the backside to manage.
yeah.
So I'm not against fixed fees at all. I just think a percentage model that ratchets down as you get over certain hurdles is just far easier. And I think as the business scales and we grow, I need ease. I don't want to be having a fee conversation every year. I think it's a pain in the backside.
So how did you determine your fixed fee levels?
So one of the mistakes we made, I'll come back to that in a sec, is that we didn't implement annual inflationary fee rises, which we have since changed in the business, and that's become useful. But we didn't do that initially, and it was just, oh yeah, we had in our terms of business every 3 years we would do that. Well, that's fine, but then COVID comes along, and you have 2 years of double-digit inflation, and we're like, well, hold on, the cost of the business have gone astronomically higher. I find it difficult. I think the other side of the percentage model, I didn't want to be in a business where if the markets fell off by 25%, my revenue was off by 25%, with no fault of my own. And so I wrestle with what I think is the best way. So I think for ease of the business as we grow, I would have done percentage models. I think for the security of having stable revenue, fixed fees works nicely. But I think either work. And one of the things that drives me insane in the industry is people talking about how people do it and why they do it and this, that, and the other, and having to go at other people for their fees. Who cares? Like, just charge what you want. As long as the client knows, the client's happy to pay it. And if they're not, they can leave. No clients are tied in. So I don't know. I think, like I said, if I could do it again, I wouldn't do fixed fees because I found it a pain.
So you're always on the hook for fixed fees, aren't you? So you basically have to have the conversation every year. This is what you're paying. This is where we're going to take it from. And you feel like, whether you like it or not, AUM is kind of like, it's not hidden, but it's like it's a lot easier to have a discussion about than you're going to pay £10,000 a year.
You wouldn't have a discussion. You would say our fees are staying the same. It's much easier to mitigate the conversation. I think that's one of the reasons why I just think every client, every year, we've got to have a proper fee review. What are we doing for them? What have they done? What's the time we've spent? How much assets have they got? How many are in their family group? It's like, do I really need to be thinking about all these things every year for every client? And a couple of the other things, like if we want to buy a business, well, 99% of the businesses are AUM. So I'm going to have to change the fees when they come in. How am I going to price that? If a business wants to buy us, we're different to every other business out there. It's like, I don't know. I just think it's caused probably more problems than it's solved. I'm not.
So why did you start with fixed fees?
Because I felt, and I still feel, it's in clients' best interests. So, and that is a powerful thought, to change away from something you think is in clients' best interests. The change has been, the business has to have its own interests. I have to look after the business as well. And that's not to say I'm going to put the business ahead of clients, but there's just a yin and yang of one v the other. And when I'm looking at a growing business and we've got advisors that are coming in and we're looking at a 3-year growth plan, which we are at the moment, I don't want to be, it's just another thing I have to think about that I don't really want to think about. So again, if I could go back, I would take that stress and pain. And if you ask Stevie, the implementation is much harder. Everyone has to have a change of fee mandate from Transact. They need to sign it. We need to send it to Transact. They need to change the fees. It's just a ball ache.
Do you have clients you take fixed fees directly from, or is
Yeah,
it all
lots.
product? Yeah,
Yeah,
like Go
lots.
Cardless, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
lots on Go Cardless.
Interesting.
And again, like that, it's easy and it's simple, but it's much simpler if it all comes from assets and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. We've had a lot of discussion around our fees in the past few years in the business, and I'm bored of it.
Do you think the clients that you've acquired along the years and that brought across, do you think they care?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think so. There's two aspects of that.
I know you care because
I think when we've sold them and we've had that conversation in the initial meeting of why we're different, I do think there is an element of they say, well, hold on, you said to me about that and now you're changing that. So I don't think they would care enough to leave, but I think there would be quite a few of them who are like, well, hold on, this doesn't fit with the ethos you've originally said, which is why we've not changed. Because we could change the model. We're not set in stone. We're not contractually obliged. Again, we talk about this in the business. I think we could do it and we'd have some pain initially. There would be some that would be upset with us and some that would tell us we're selling them out or whatever. But I think ultimately they would stay with us, because if they went to 99% of the other advisors, they'd be paying the same and they'd be paying a percentage. But we haven't done it because ultimately we still want to stand behind what we originally said as an ethos. So for good or for bad, that's kind of where we keep landing.
okay, so just to round off the fee discussion, has it allowed you, so we're going to talk about your role in sports and football and stuff like that. Has it allowed you to work with clients that you wouldn't normally work with through the AUM model or not?
I don't think so. I mean, again, I think it might have won some clients off the back of the way that we articulate the fees against other firms in that business. I think there are some people that like the model because if they have substantial capital, I think from a psychological perspective, telling them that not all of their money is going to go to investments, or
But maybe the young footballers that don't have the assets under management at the moment, are they paying fixed fees, or
they're paying fixed fees. Yeah,
but you wouldn't be able to work with them unless they're fixed fee, would you, and be profitable?
correct. I mean, we would just swallow that for a period of
Okay.
time, which we don't. But it's like that our initial fees aren't that high for them anyway, depending on based on what they're earning. So it's not really that. It's more that for the big. It's actually more important for the bigger clients. I think it's easier for the bigger clients.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Want to be financial planning's next big success story? You need more than ambition. You need Xplan. Xplan is the top-rated financial advice software that powers up your practice. It boosts your business and gives your client service some serious liftoff. It's backed by top-rated service and support, all from Iris, the technology partner you can trust. So if you want to get on top, get Xplan. Book your free demo at iris.com today.
Right, welcome back. I think we're going to move on from the fixed fees. I think I got a lot of value out there. I mean, just to round it off, obviously I had to sell fixed fees, but I was often selling it for people that didn't have the AUM, and it's a great sales tool, but you're always on the hook. But anyway,
Yeah, look, again, I think you're always on the hook for people's fees either way.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the good financial planning firms are mis-selling their fees. I think we're all on the hook for providing good advice. As I said to you just before, I want to be able to go to clients and say, right, you've done amazing with your saving or your investing. I'm now reducing the percentage that we're going to charge, and I'm reducing your fees.
just before we move on, so this is the question that I used to get. Do you pitch the fees as annually paid monthly or monthly fees?
No, we're very comfortable. It's an annual fee, and they can pay it annually, quarterly, monthly.
And what normally happens?
Most people pay monthly, either
Okay.
via direct debit or out of assets monthly. We have a few clients, probably 10, that pay annually, and a lot of them pay in Jan and Feb. Weirdly, so they're generally our biggest months. But
Okay, so let's pivot now to your proposition.
okay.
Okay, so obviously a fixed fee business. How often are you seeing clients? How are you working with them? What's the whole process?
So we have we had tiers of clients previously. We've kind of moved away from that to sort of a core model, and then we have core plus, and then core business, and a few other sort of core sports off the back of
So
that.
this was all on the website at some point, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's evolved on the website. All the details are on there, but it's not the tiers that we had initially. Um, Part of that was consumer duty, where you had to sort of have a rounded proposition as to for all clients that fit into, and how you have sort of segregation of clients and what you're doing for them. So we run a model where we do an annual review for all clients in Jan, Feb, March. So it's called Surge, which Matthew Jarvis in America kind of pioneered.
How long you been doing that?
Probably 4 or 5 years now. So operationally, it's quite stressful. Jan, Feb, March. I think the team would tell you. But it allows you after that period. The reason we do it in Jan, Feb, March, again, we think there's a decent rationale. We've always done reporting calendar year. So everyone who's been with us have had returns in 2018, returns in 2019, so on and so forth. And then we see them in those months because it's coming up to the end of the tax year. So it's tax year end planning. And you can also plan for the following tax year. So for example, we will be writing up, let's just say, we will write up this year and next year's ISA subscriptions because we know people are going to do them from historical. When they say to us in, I don't know, December, oh, I've just had my bonus, I want to do the ISA subscriptions, we've already written it up so they could just, proceed with the previous SL. It's less work to do. So we find that proposition, having done it for 4 or 5 years, clients know that they're going to see us over that period. They like it. They like the calendar year reporting. They like that we sort of sweep everything up.
So how many families are we talking?
We're currently at about 140 families.
Okay, and you see every one of them January, February, March.
Everyone. Now, there might be, someone that can't do it, or someone's traveling, or they're too busy at work because we've got some crazy business owners. So all of them will have an annual review, but they might not have a face-to-face meeting, or they might not be seen. But that's on their choice. We want to see every client.
Yeah. Okay. So January, February, March, they get their what we would call annual planning meeting.
Yep.
And that includes the tax planning, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
What about the rest of the year?
We don't do anything. We just switch off.
That's why you're here, isn't it?
No. So normally, obviously, post-tax year end. So April is sweeping up all the ISAs and pensions that people want to do immediately after the tax year. Then May and June is focusing on what are we doing for the business. So what have been our sort of proposition changes, or fee changes, or website changes, marketing strategy. Those months where it's quieter from a planning perspective. We get to focus on the business and what we want to do there. That leads us into the summer months, which are quieter because obviously kids are off school and it's just busy. And then September through to end of December is generally new business, prospecting, profiling, building on the relationships that we got, and also going to see clients in a less structured manner. So just catching up for lunch, just seeing what's going on with them. How's their housework going, or their son's gone to university? How's that? All those kind of things that are softer, we do in those months. It's a bit less time sensitive, and we're a bit freer in the time that we spend.
So there's a rhythm to the business, isn't there?
Yeah.
Can you see that scaling?
So depends what you mean by scaling.
So
Scaling
if
is
you
a
took
word.
if you took that to 200, 250 families.
Yeah, that to me
Yeah.
that's not scaling. That's
Okay.
just growth.
Okay.
So that can easily grow, and we can easily double where we are today. That's not an issue. To me, scaling would be like 2,000, 3,000 clients. That feels like that would be quite intense for me to grow that business today. But doubling, which I don't know whether that sounds like big growth to people or not, but for me, and that's sort of where we are at the moment, is we're just on a 3 to 5 year business plan to between double and treble where we are. That's achievable and scalable, if you want to use that word.
Okay. So, do you feel you have capacity to do that with the current team or not?
So yes, we have capacity within the advisors to double.
Yeah.
We would need some support, I think. So we would look at support staff. We've just put an advert. Anyone listening on Next Gen Planners for
Not
Power Planner?
Plannex.
Oh yeah, Plannex.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. That's right.
Apologies. We need some support in the business to support the advisors on that growth. So yeah, we definitely. But from an advice perspective, we can grow the team to fill out Toby and Emily and give them maybe 50, 60, 70 clients each, and that's probably another 100 clients, I reckon.
Yeah. So I mean, you came in, you came in before you were texting a client. You're on all the time, aren't you? Like
Yeah.
you do your review months, but like I'm guessing you're using WhatsApp, all that sort of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
are 140 clients demanding? Is it always you?
No, so if we say 140 clients, Toby has about 40. Emily, who's been with me since she graduated uni, so she's 5 years with us now, which is one of my success stories, definitely in business. She is just taking over about 30 families. Now, she's worked directly with me for coming up 5 years.
So she's been second chair to you.
She's been second chair. I mean, she does
all of it.
most of
I
it.
would imagine she does
most
all
of it. Yeah, she's brilliant. So she's now going to take on 30 lead client relationships, and a load of them have been speaking directly to her anyway for a few years, so that's fine. So my clients generally are relatively demanding, but again, once you've worked with them for quite a while, it's only when something's going on in their life that they're demanding. Generally, it's just maybe they need some cash for something, or they want to buy a house, or whatever's going on. But it's less so than it was. I think I've engineered them to be in a space where, you know, most of it is friendly catch-ups and chats.
But you've still got 70 client relationships there. So Toby's got 40.
Yeah.
Emily's got 30.
Yeah.
What's the plan with those? Plan to get more across those guys or not?
Yeah, so the growth plan is for us to double. And that is by more new client relationships. So definitely we want clients that are coming into the business now. I might see them initially, but I'm going to allow Toby and I say allow them. That sounds terrible. They are going to be the lead. So
do you see every new client that comes into the building? Interesting.
No. Because, you know, Toby's got his own relationships. He's been with us 3 years now, and he's worked hard on building his referral connections and introducers. Emily is 27. She's worked hard to get herself qualified and been in loads of meetings. So we're not so worried about her on new business, although we will start from next year. But any leads that come into me, I will filter out to them. Any that come in for them is to them. And we're trying to grow the team in that way. So leads go to, like, they're dealing with a couple of clients at the moment that have come into me initially. And I'm having to be very comfortable in saying, look, firstly, you probably don't want me to be your lead advisor because, you know, those two are more than capable and you're going to be like an A client for them. Again, I wouldn't say it in that way, but they're really going to service you very well because they've got more capacity than I have. And B, the business has to evolve that way. So I have to become more comfortable in saying that this team that we've got that are really good, they're perfectly capable of doing it. So yeah, it's letting go of that, you know, real tight grip around everything.
So is your philosophy that you've got 3 planners, including yourself, you can look after 250, 300 client relationships? Is that your philosophy?
Yeah, I think 250 probably feels about the right number at the moment. So we want to get to about 80 each. And again, we've got the support staff under there that we need to fill out to manage the sort of the day-to-day paperwork and running of clients when they want to do withdrawals or top-ups or something's gone wrong or that, you know, whatever it is that you get on a day-to-day. I think the support needs to be extended to allow them to flourish, but we've got a little bit of time for that.
It's interesting that you still want 80 clients.
I still love the day-to-day.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, we've spoken about as a business selling or, you know, changes in the business. I still enjoy financial planning. I mean, I don't necessarily enjoy some of the report writing and some of the compliance elements, but sitting with clients and speaking to them and helping them, that's like, those are the best parts of my day. So I don't want to give that up at the moment.
Do you have a new second chair? Do you have a trainee planner or anything like that?
Not at the moment. I think we're good with Emily having a hybrid with her 30 clients and still helping me. When she gets to 50, 60 clients, we'll definitely need that support. But yeah, that's an evolution we're going to look at over the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay. You always strike me as you've been very deliberate about everything there. Like, you're thinking about, when we get to this, we're going to do this. When we get to that, we're going to do that. Is that always been the way that you've run business?
Probably depends who you ask. I think we had a deliberate goal of what we wanted to get to when we set out. So we wanted to be 100 families, real lifestyle business. We wanted to be at about £1 million revenue, so average of 10 grand a client, and that was what we wanted to achieve. And a small segue on that, I met the guys at Lyft, and one of the partners there said I'd never be able to do that.
Yeah, I
which
remember
really
it well.
pissed me off. And so, yeah, he can do one because we're way past that. But anyway, that was kind of what we set out to do. And when we got to those kind of levels, we were like, well, we're not going to turn off here. Why would we do that? We're enjoying the day to day. We've got good people. We can still grow from here. And I think that's really what we've done is we've revisited what we wanted to achieve. We sort of said, well, it probably wasn't a big, hairy, audacious enough goal for us to do. So that's sort of underplayed it. And I think we've refreshed what we're trying to achieve and set a new target for 3 to 5 years. I don't like looking too far ahead.
No.
So I think there is deliberate in there, but also we're quite open to change. Like we bought a business because we wanted to see how that worked.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was an opportunity. We've put ourselves in the position to receive these opportunities. One came along and we thought, yeah, let's go for it and let's see how it works, because it opens the door to more opportunities if they come. And I'm quite open for that kind of change.
Yeah.
So there's a strategy and there's being deliberate, but there's also being open for change and opportunity.
So how did it come along? I mean, did someone just come to you and say, can you buy my business?
No, so Transact have what they call a matching service. And as we were growing quite well on Transact, we became more of I want to say a bigger fish for them, because we're probably not a big fish for them, but we became more important to them, let's say. And we got a bit closer with the BD and the people there. And they would say to us, look, you're on a growth trajectory. You seem to have, you seem operationally to be doing quite well. We have a matching service just if it ever suits. And I was like, yeah, well, that would be cool. If it's local, if it's quite small and manageable, we'd be open to it. They called us back a month or two later, say, look, there's a guy who's not too far away from you. He's had, I wouldn't say some challenges. He's a difficult character. He's an interesting character, let's say. He's quite specific on who he wants to manage his clients. I think you should have a chat with him.
What kind of size?
He was about 21 million of assets and about 27 client families.
It's good business.
So good demographics. Henley-on-Thames, which is a nice affluent area just outside of London, not too far from us. And I met him. He wanted to retire. He didn't want to stay in the business. I didn't want to take on any staff. I just felt that's more ag than we wanted. They were all on Transact. They all had voyants, similar investment philosophy. So I was kind of saying to Stevie, how difficult can it be?
There's no red flags here.
How difficult could it be? So we agreed terms and we bought the business. And I think it's been a really good learning curve.
There's a small smirk on your face.
Yeah. I've probably spoken about this before, although I haven't done many podcasts recently, so this is probably new for people. The way he exited the business is not the way I would do it. And it put us on the back foot immediately with 27 client families.
So had you already paid the money for the business, or was
we
there
paid 50% up front?
Yeah, and then
there's
an
an earn out.
Yeah.
But he was quite a strange character. So he sort of was talking about how much time he wanted to work after. And we were saying, you don't really need to work. You just need to be around if we've got any client queries, or if the client would like you to be there, we do a handover together. You can introduce us. He didn't want to do that. We're like, okay, fine. Well,
it's quite strange, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's looked after these clients for so long, and he just wants to walk away.
Firstly, he looked after them for quite a long time, and he'd really looked after. They loved him.
Yeah.
On the day of completion, so we bought the business, we bought the limited company. So if you buy a client book, essentially you go and sign the clients over to you, and then you pay them out. When you buy the business, he sends you the bank account details. You log into the bank. You own the business on day one. We were like, okay, here we go. Like, we own the Transact login. We own this, that, and the other. It was a lot. But he emailed the clients. Guys, thank you very much. Sam's bought the business. My number's changing.
And that was it?
And that was it.
What?
So we went and saw clients. So we was like, right, we need to go and see every client within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We need to really go and...
So there was no lead up?
No lead up. He didn't tell them. It was insane. So Toby and I... So Toby is a friend of mine who I know personally. He joined to sort of run this book.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him now looking back on it, because like jumping into the fire. But he and I went and saw every client. And in every meeting, we were like, right, we're really sorry for the way John's done that. We wouldn't have done it that way. I couldn't control how he exited. Now, we've kept about 25 of the 27 families,
Wow.
so we did a really good job. They're lovely people, and I think us not changing anything for the first couple of years made the transition smoother, but he just put us on the back foot, which was a pain in the backside.
I mean, so the earn-out, did
Yeah.
you still pay him the earn-out?
He got paid on the earn-out, but he got less because not all of the clients...
That's what I'm saying.
we had a
He
couple of
didn't do the transition.
No. He did. He was around if they had calls,
Yeah.
but he wasn't really approachable. He's saying, I'm out. It was just bizarre. And the thing is, it didn't chime with how he looked after them. They loved him, and they'd been with him for like 15 years. It's unimaginable for me to think about emailing my clients and say, guys, I'm out. See you anon. It's like, it's just...
So was it mega stressful for you?
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
say...
you don't really get stressed.
No,
But...
I see things... I see things as a challenge. We knew we had to go and see the clients anyway. So, but it just made the conversations a little bit harder in the first instance. Stressful to me, stress is like someone's ill, or like real big things are stressful. Everything else is pretty comfortable. You know, it's one of my strengths is being able to say, look, is someone seriously ill, or is this going to have a major financial? Like, if it's not the be all and end all. Like, let's keep it real.
Yeah. But I guess the business wasn't dependent on it, was it?
No.
But I would imagine you paid a lot of money.
It wasn't dependent on it. I think one of the interesting things is, so we wanted to pay that. So we took a loan for the first 50%, and we used the cash flow of the business to pay the next 25. So we're now 3 years after the transition. The last debt payment will be this time next year.
Yeah.
So we'll have paid it off in 4 years. So one of the things about doing that is that has been quite tough, because the revenue's there, but we hired to bring in, and he had to spend a load of time bringing those clients on and making sure they're okay and embedding them. So that took away from his business development. So I don't think it's been as profitable as it could have been, and we're paying it off over 4 years, which is a choice we made. Most people, from my experience, pay off over 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But I think it will stand us in really good stead now, as it's almost, that burden is almost finished, for us to put in those growth plans, because Toby's well established. He's worked with those people for years. He's now got his own clients that he's brought over, and that he's had introduced, and he's ready to grow. So it's been a really good learning curve.
What would you do differently? You'd
I
make him
do
stay around and transition.
Yeah,
clients.
I think I'd do the transition better.
Yeah.
I would want him at every meeting to introduce us and to say why he'd chosen us. He had probably 10 other advisors that he met that he didn't like, that he vetted. So that's fine. You're not going to like everyone, but if you like us, tell your clients why you like us. Tell your clients why these people are taking over the relationship that you've had for 15 years. That's the key that I would do differently. We bought that at what we think was a really good value, and what I see today in terms of what people are asking or thinking about the value of their business. We got a fairly good deal, so I would do it again, and we're always looking. So again, Plannex, anyone wants to talk about growth or exit?
As long as you stick around.
Yeah, they have to stick around. They just need to come and do the handover.
And at good value.
Yeah, fair value. I think it doesn't need to be good value. Fair value is okay. So yeah, it was a really good learning curve, and I think it was good for us. You have credibility when you say to like a broker that you've already done an acquisition or a selling firm. It gives you credibility to say we can definitely do it and integrate it again. So we are looking if we can find. It's just not easy to find the right firms.
Okay. And then let's talk about hiring very quickly for the next break. How many people have you got now? I mean, you've always stayed fairly lean.
Yes,
as a
there's
business.
5 of us.
So let's talk about that. You've always stayed like quite tight.
Yeah, I think one of my whether it's a pro or a con actually, is that I'm quite afraid of managing people. So I haven't wanted to take loads of people on for fear of having to fire them, or for fear of them not doing well and me having to tell them that they're not doing well. It's just sort of, I don't really want to do that. I like to be.
Will your sister not do that?
Yeah, she would, but she's probably better at it than I am. I just think I don't know. I want to be the nice guy. I like to be liked, and that's a tough one for me. but anyway, we're growing and we need to do it now. The business needs it. So the business needs are taking over what I want, which is probably a good thing. So Stevie, obviously, with day one, and obviously implicit trust. She's family. We're very close. So that's great. We then hired a friend of ours to come in and do admin, and that's Michelle. She's been with us almost since day one. So she's been with us nearly 9 years, which is crazy. So she's great. During COVID, we hired Emily. So Emily
Was she a friend or family?
no, well, she was a client. She was a friend of a client. They said, "Oh, we've got this.
Wow, okay.
We've got this young girl. She's finishing geography. She wants to do something in finance. Would you have a chat with her?" So we had a chat with her. Really liked her. Initially said, "Look, you probably want to go as coming out of uni. You probably want to go into London and be at a big firm." I gave her some introductions to some bigger firms, but at that time it was coming into COVID, and people were just like, "Right, we're shutting down. We're not hiring." And I'd said to Stevie, I think I probably need someone to be, like you said, a second chair, and start to take the burden off me so I can carry on growing and doing the other things. And because she was a student with no experience, we could hire her relatively inexpensively, and see. And that's been, brilliant hire, absolutely brilliant. She's doing really well, and we're, she went on a sabbatical, so we let her go travel around the world for 8 months because, again, we want to make sure that she's happy. And then we hired Toby, who was a friend. So there's a pattern there. Obviously, I do understand that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Toby's doing great. He's a certified financial planner. He's looking after sort of more of the older demographic that we've got. A real steady, safe pair of hands, and is doing good. And now we're looking for a paraplanner to join the team. And that, I don't know any paraplanners, so it won't be a friend or family.
There's none in the family, no friends.
No, so that will be a change. But I think, like I said, that Emily, me taking a young person and helping them develop has been really great. I've loved seeing her development. But now she's got to do the next stage of development. And again, that's for me to say, right, one of the challenges is she's so helpful to me. I actually have to let her go and develop her own, because otherwise she doesn't grow. And, we had her team meeting, her sort of review, and thankfully she was comfortable enough to say it to me. She was like, I need to push forward here. Otherwise, I feel like I'm stalling.
Yeah.
She was going to do it anyway, but it's pushed ahead.
Has there been anyone that's come into the business and then has gone out of the business that
Thankfully
just wasn't
not.
a fit? Okay.
No, and again,
that's very rare in the number of years you've been going.
Yeah, but that's probably because I'm quite cautious on hiring and wrong fit of people, because I don't want to fire people. I don't like being so we had a mortgage business with my good friend Max.
I remember, yeah.
So Max actually bought the business back from me a few years ago. We're still good friends. He was running it, and that's a separate story. But we nearly hired someone together, but just before he was due to start, we cancelled because it wasn't the right fit. So that's the only time I've had a conversation with someone around not coming into one of the businesses. But for Engage specifically, no. And I'm really cautious about culture and fit and the right person for us.
What about tech? So what role is tech playing in all this?
Yeah, good question. I mean, again, I'm quite, what's the word I want to use? I am quite cynical on a lot of the stuff that I read and see about people, fully tech enabled, and we're using this system and that system. I'm not seeing anything that I think is groundbreaking at the moment. Most of them are glorified, like meeting note takers. I haven't seen anything above that that's really blowing my mind from an advice perspective. I can see where I think it's going to come in. I'm just not seeing it. So, like, no disrespect to any of the major players out there that are, raising capital and have all singing and dancing things that they're talking about, for want of a better word. I'm not seeing it. So I'm not seeing anything that I think is revolutionary. So
do you think it will play a big part in your business, though?
It should
forwards?
do.
Yeah.
It definitely should do. I mean, look, the meeting note software has been really useful, don't get me wrong, but nothing is transforming our business in the way we want it to at the moment. We are looking and we're trying to evolve, but Copilot's been really helpful. ChatGPT is really great, but I find it quite basic. A client of mine sent me a ChatGPT financial plan. He's got something going on, and he put a financial plan into ChatGPT. And I said to him, like, this is all stuff It's like it's giving you surface level, high level notes. Like, that's great. You know all that stuff. So I don't know. Again, I'm not closed off to any of it, and I'm watching it quite carefully. I just haven't seen anything I think is groundbreaking, and I think people are talking a good game without really doing anything just yet.
Okay, interesting. Right, let's take another break, and we'll be back shortly.
Hi guys, if you're listening to this podcast and thinking, finally someone gets it, these are my people, they should probably be at Plannex Live. It's practical content for people in the financial planning profession. No suits, no dodgy attitudes, just people in finance talking honestly about the job. And yes, we have world-class bingo. And before you ask, bingo at a conference, trust me, it makes sense when you're there.
Right, so we have a special guest here today. We have a guy called Rohan Sivajoti, the lesser spotted Rohan. Struggled with trains, mate?
Just a 2-hour delay today. Broke down freight train at Doncaster, blocking the line. Good to be here, mate. Sorry I'm late, Sam.
All good.
That's
the
all right.
beauties of coming from Darlington.
We're not going to go through all Ro's ailments at the moment, but he's got a poorly shoulder as well. He's not been very well. But good to have you here, mate.
Thanks,
good to see you.
It's great to be here.
Should we talk about the story of a few weeks ago? So should we talk about this young man getting some tickets?
Oh, what a guy, right? So, my eldest I've indoctrinated him into Tottenham Hotspur, which, you know, for those that want to ring Childline at this point, they can do. It's a real struggle. But he was desperate to go to his first game, and I live up in the northeast, Newcastle away in the Carabao, and we had lunch, didn't we, in town maybe about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and I mentioned this. And Sam, of course, looks after loads of the footballers, doesn't he? And he goes, Rohan, leave it with me, sorted. Next couple of days, tickets WhatsApped over, in the away end, watched the mighty Spurs get demolished 2-0. But he had the time of his life, mate. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to go to the next game, even though we got walloped. So, yeah, massively appreciative, mate. And but that's I guess your world, isn't it? Mainly.
Yeah. I one of the management team at Spurs is a client of mine and a friend of mine. So yeah, that's not an open invitation for other people out there. But every so often, I can tickets are one of the things that I seem to be able to help with. So. Always nice to put people into away games, especially because it's really tough to get away tickets. So, thankfully, there's not many Spurs fans travelling to Newcastle. Got me on an easy one there.
So Sam's an Arsenal fan. But
Yes.
Before we talk about football, how good were those chicken wings?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the place we went to.
Flesh and Bun.
Oh yeah,
I
Flesh
think.
and Bun.
Yeah, near Thumman's
great.
offices.
Very, very good.
Right, footballers.
Yes.
So
Football's
obviously your background was football.
Yep.
Who were your first big football clients? How did that go?
Oh, blimey, that's a good question. Who were the first clients? First big clients that signed up with Engage, or Engage, or
Whatever, yeah.
oh my word, that's a good question. I'm trying to think back to who we were dealing with early on. I mean, we used to don't work with. He's actually left the UK. We used to work with Robert Pires, which was one of the big clients and big wins we had early when I was at London Capital back in the day.
I bet you'd love that as a gooner.
First, he was my favourite player.
Yeah.
Secondly, he's got the same birthday as me. And he came to the office quite a lot. And if he came to the office, everyone knew who Robert Pires was. So that was one of the wins. So we spoke before you came around about, we used to put our numbers up. So we'd have like the UK team have done 20 million this month, the US team 100 million, the sports division like 50,000. It was embarrassing. But Robert Pires coming into the office
50,000.
gave us a load of cachet that we really loved. So yeah, football accounts for about 25% of the business. When we set up Engage, it was a bigger proportion, but we've grown the non-sport sector faster only because I love football. It's played a huge role in my life, but I don't do most of the things that you need to do these days to grow a football division. And the reality is I don't want to be, a lot of the values in football I don't align with, and you've got to do a lot of things that I just don't like.
What's it like dealing with the agents?
So I don't deal with many agents, and the ones that I do are really good guys, and I've worked with them for coming up 20 years now. But it takes a long time to gain their trust. There's a lot of agents, it's like any business. There's a lot of agents running around and don't really have any influence. There's a lot of agents with really good relationship with really good advisors, so you're unlikely to break in there. If you think about the demographics of football, there's probably 1,000 players in the top 2 divisions that are sort of serviceable. Again, if we want to be crude and talk about numbers, 50% of them are probably foreign. So it depends whether you can service them and are you really going to give them the best service possible. So that's down to 500. You're then saying, well, some are at the age curve, there's probably like 20% of that 500 are young players coming through. So again, they'd be good clients on the long term, but they might not make it. 100 are maybe at the other end, and so there's not that many.
So the market's not actually that big.
It's really small. There's some really good advisors that work in the space that I know quite well. So I'll give a shout out to Pat Foley, who I'm good friends with, who I think is brilliant. And Pat is more focused on football and sport than I am, which is fine. So we will continue to grow that section by referrals and by the agents that we work with. But I'm not out there going to games. I'm not out there pushing the sports side. I just, I don't love it enough.
So is it just football or is it all sports?
No, it's just football.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really just football. I mean, again, if you think about numbers, like pick Formula One, most of them don't live in the UK. Golf, most of them don't live in the UK.
Yeah.
Rugby, the dealings I had in rugby originally, and rugby's never been my sport. I was too much of I didn't want to get hurt for that. But to me, the demographics and the numbers never stacked up, so I never pushed that. It was the same with cricket. The amount of cricketers and rugby players that probably fit where I want to be as a business owner, there's just not enough of them. So, and I don't know enough about the sport to be really competent in talking about the sport and about the challenges. So, one of the things I'm good at with football is, keeping a level head, understanding that, you can go from a super high to a super low in a week. You can have 3 games. Mm-hmm. So if you don't start 3 games in a week, it's like, football's terrible. It's only a week. It's a crazy industry, and obviously I know it very well. So football's great and I love it, but I don't want to do the things that I need to do to really push that element.
Any big names that you look after now before we move on to business owners? Yeah,
so I think on my previous podcast, I had Esri Konsa, who's obviously an England international, and Ollie Watkins, who obviously also an England international. They're 2 of my bigger clients. I had
scored some big goals last night, I think. Ollie Watkins
scored a couple last night.
Got a great Ollie Watkins story with him as well. I remember being, I think it was one of our conferences. It was me, you, and Tom Morris. And he'd had a few beers, and Ollie Watkins FaceTimed him.
Yes, I remember.
So he answered, and he goes to Tomo, look like this. Tomo's a rugby man, knows nothing about football. Tomo's going, all right. You're chatting away to him, turned out to me and go, who's that? Like,
perfect.
So good.
Yeah, there was one point I think I had 5 clients in one of the England squads, which was incredible for a business our size.
Wow.
But yeah, those 2, I've said to them before, I might mention their name from time to time. They're fine. I've looked after them for 10 years and we're good friends. So
must be really fulfilling to see those guys go through the journey though. And knowing they've got good advice.
Yeah, I mean, knowing they've got good advice and knowing, financially they're going to be secure is amazing. And I love that. And I love helping them. I think the other side of that, their agent, I'm very good friends with, although Esri's now with a different agent. But he said to me when he first introduced them, these 2 are going to go on and play for England. And you're like, yeah, I've kind of heard that before. I'm not sure. Esri was playing at Charlton and Ollie was playing at Exeter.
Wow.
So to see the journey they've been on and with the agent who's a friend of mine is just incredible. They're both lovely guys, and most of the players I work with are great guys, and we generally wouldn't work with them if they weren't. But footballers get stigmatized, and I think most of them are really good people.
What happens to the ones that don't make it with you guys?
With us,
yeah.
That's a good question. So we have to help them through the transition. So it depends where they've got to. So to come on as an engaged client, they need to be doing relatively well in terms of earnings, because otherwise the fixed fee that we spoke about previously, it's not justified unless they're earning at a certain level. If their career goes south, which can happen, we will help them depending on if it's paying off debt or if it's spending the assets they've got, helping them transition away from football. We have to do what we have to do to help them live and grow and get a job. Look, I think I've done that. you know, I never earned anywhere near what these guys earn. Unfortunately, I wasn't good enough. But I know what it means to come out of football and do okay. So it's just trying to tell them that there is another world out there, and actually, the world I live in, running my own business, is more enjoyable than football was for me.
You scored a good big goal in Darlington once, didn't you?
I did score a big goal in Darlington
tell me
once,
about
yeah.
it.
Although I don't think anyone is really interested in my big goal in Darlington.
Oh,
It sounds bigger to me than it does to an audience on
Tell us
YouTube.
about the goal.
It's fine. It's a small goal. The Dagenham fans that are tuned into this pod will remember that, no doubt.
All two of them.
Yeah, exactly. And one of them's my mum.
Business owners.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so business owners has really become the sort of biggest part of our growth, and probably the biggest demographic of clients that we look after. And again, we've kind of fallen into that. I have some friends who have been really successful. My network is really strong for whatever reason. And actually, it's mainly football. Growing up, before social media, when you were good at football, you had, let's say, a bit of status maybe, or whatever. People wanted to know who you were and follow your career and whatever. And in the Jewish world, it's quite small. So you're back at the Jewish Chronicle or whatever. So I just had a really strong network of people that I was friends with and that I knew. And we had a few friends exit their business in the early mid-2010s and come into substantial capital in their mid-30s. And that has challenges of its own. And they were going through, kids going through school fees and helping parents and, what house do they buy? And all of the challenges that I was sort of having, but not at the same level, obviously. And that just I became a bit of the go-to person for the circles that we all mixed in. When they sold a business, you need to speak to Sam. Independent, fixed fee, so they're not worried about where you're going to invest, because you're quite clear in what your advice and where your role is. And so that section's really, really grown. And then a few of the accountants that have helped them, a few of the M&A firms that have advised them, we get referrals in from there, and it's been a really good growing part.
So
of the business.
any sort of niche, or are they generally younger?
Yeah, I mean, young is probably not a niche. I think there's advisors out there who tell me that's way too broad of a niche. But young business owners that have exited is probably a niche, because there isn't thousands of those. So that's where I would say, sub 45 who have had a 10 million plus exit. There's probably not that many of them out there, and we seem to have quite a few clients in that niche. And it's been really good, because they're really good people generally. They listen, they need help. And actually, more importantly, from my perspective, the thing I love about the business, and we were talking about it before, why I still love the day job, is I go into them, how's their business grown? What have they done? What's their story? What makes them tick? And it's just brilliant. It's like a free MBA, and just listen to them and how they
feel for you, innit?
How they've run their business and what I can take from them, and challenges and learnings. That's sort of the best part of the business for me.
So you're right on this. I spoke a bit about this recently. There's over 5 million business owners in the UK, right? And every time I talk to financial planning, they go, "I look after business owners." You go, what does that mean? So you've kind of described it very, very well there. What I was interested in, what was interesting, what you said there, was post exit. So you're taking them once they've all gone through all that and earned the money, rather than at that point. Because Adam, I know when you were advising, yours was more at the point of when they're thinking of selling, wasn't it? And taking
Yeah, so I picked them up pre-exit, like 12 to 18 months, because the fixed fee worked well with that. But I'm guessing you're dealing with the guys before the exit. I'm guessing you get the intros before.
There's a mix of both. No, I get quite a lot of intros as they're about to exit, and
from the corporate finance guys,
corporate finance, or a couple of accountants that work in that space, and they'll phone me and say, "Look, they're about to close. They've signed the SPA. It's all done. You need to go and see them." So we get them as they're coming in.
I never wanted them at that stage, because the money would hit their bank account, and if you haven't prepared them for that moment, they're an absolute disaster to work with. You're smiling because you know what this is like.
Well,
it's like,
look, a disaster to work with is an interesting framing of how that.
What I mean is,
again, that would go back to what we said before about good problems to have. Like, if that's your disaster,
no.
Right.
But what I mean is, they find it very difficult to adjust to life post exit.
It depends on the earn-out. It depends on how long are they working. Are they in the business? Do they exit? There's all variables on that from my perspective. one of the things that I've really learned that I think is really key for business owners that have exited, income and continuous income is so important, because even if they've got capital, the capital feels esoteric. It's like it's invested, it's over there. I can't spend that. Where's my income come? My income
Yeah.
stopped. I feel like I've got no money, and it's a weird transition away
So
from being
we've
in
had
control.
long conversations about the voyant being completely useless for some of these people. They're just like, I don't want to know what's going to happen in 30, 40 years. I want to know what's going to happen in the next few years, and have I got enough money?
Yeah, so what we say about voyant is we call it red flag planning.
Yeah.
So yeah, a 40-year chart, all things going up via inflation, all things going up by a 6% growth rate, and it's broadly irrelevant. What it does is it says, right, what are we looking for? Where are the red flags here? Where are the things that are going to be an issue? And for example, if you are going to run out of money, or it says you're going to run out of money very early because your expenditure is astronomical, that's a red flag. It's just picking out things of the voyant that become useful for them in the way they're thinking.
It's a different skill, isn't it? So advising business owners, I don't know if you find it, it's a different skill. Like I always think about the road test with anything that I do. It's like the road test is, will Row get it in 30 seconds or a minute, or you'll just gloss over?
Yeah.
It's like, you're a typical business owner, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's like, if I can't explain to you
100%.
within about a few minutes what we're doing, you just lost the plot, haven't you?
100%. I mean, I've been through the financial planning process. Had a financial planner, done all that, and I think sometimes it was really refreshing to hear that, because there is sometimes this big emphasis on the plan. Like, here is the plan.
Yeah.
And I'm just anything past the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm glazed over. I've got other things I want to do. Oh, I want to go do this, go do that, whatever else. I'm just not interested beyond that, but I would get it from the perspective of red flags.
What I say to that is, me personally, I find it hard to look too far in the future. I find there's too many variables, too many things that can change. However, it is good to know that there is going to be an issue, or potential issues might crop up based on parameters that I set today, because you can change, or you can review those parameters and make adjustments if you need to. And that's really, I undergeneralize. They don't all glaze over. You have business owners that are so in the detail and will spend hours.
The engineers.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all horses for courses, but
advising a professional that is about to retire is fundamentally different.
Very different
to advising a business owner.
Correct.
And I don't think the profession realizes that most of the time. I think the people in it, day to day, like you, realize it. But I think when you're getting your training, you're getting your stripes, you're getting your badges, like, it's a skill. Like, sitting down with a business owner is a complete skill that you have to learn.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting, and actually I learned this at First Wealth through Anthony, when you're an employee, you are thinking about you. So you are thinking, how am I going to progress? When's my pay rise? When am I going to get equity? When am me? When you're a business owner, you're thinking about, right, how's my life going to grow? I need to look after Emily, right? Engage still needs to be profitable. Stevie needs to progress. Toby needs to, the whole thing you're thinking about. And it's really, there's so many other things to worry about other than just you. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is like understanding business owners have a million different things that they're thinking about. And actually your financial plan, capital T, capital P, is not that important. It's important, but like, again, I hear loads of advisors talk about the emphasis of financial plan is so important. Our client, I was like, listen, our clients love us, don't get me wrong, but they're not like, we're not the be all and end all in their lives. I don't want to be, I shouldn't be. We're an important part, and we invest money for them, and we look after them, and we make them, give them comfort, but they're running a business. As soon as the meeting's done, they're off thinking about the other 50 things they got going on in their lives. So I don't know, some people take this stuff way too seriously. It's serious, it's important, but it is not the be all and end all. It's a part of life.
I'll tell you a funny story. So we're obviously getting a piece of tax planning done for the business. And I've literally put that into ChatGPT this morning and say, simplify it to me like I'm a 12-year-old. We've got like this long email, and it's just like the same when I was an advisor and I was advising business owners. My job was to simplify it so the business owner, they don't care. I mean, I was terrible with engineers. Like, I'll be really honest. Like, I hate the detail, but I was really good at putting complex stuff into simple words,
Yeah.
for a business owner, and then they get it. It builds trust, doesn't it?
Yeah. You have to build trust. You have to be able, you have to get them. And if they haven't got long, you have to understand they haven't got long. You just give them what they need. And when they need something, they'll be in touch. You have to be okay with like some periods of silence, or, we talk about annual reviews and does everyone get one? They get one, we're there, but sometimes they're busy and they've got other things going on. And I'm not there to tell them you have to have this financial planning meeting. Like, okay, no problem. You're under pressure. You've got things going on. Let me know when you're good. It's okay. And some of the regulation around that stuff, I find it nonsensical. It's not in the real world. You have to have a review. What if you haven't had one? Well, as long as we've offered one and we've been there to tell them we're there to do it, we're ready, and they can't, well, I'm going to have a problem because they couldn't do a meeting. It's insane.
What was your most difficult meeting you've ever had?
Oh, blimey. Most difficult meeting I've ever had. I mean, we've had some meetings. So the last couple of years where businesses have been challenged, property. So we look after quite a lot of property clients who have been property focused, and property's really, really struggling. Those have been tough meetings because people have, I wouldn't say, not overspending, that's a bit unfair, but like when your lifestyle costs are X and you haven't got the freedom to get X, it's tough about people adjusting lifestyles. Again, I think I've said this before, but going up on the expenditure ladder is really easy. Coming back down is so difficult. And having to put things into perspective for people, that they've really got to make some tough decisions. And again, people would say they're first world problems, but they're still problems. Like, you have to take your kids out of private school. You have to move house. You have to, instead of having 5 holidays a year, you can have 1 or 2. It's to the outside world, that might sound like, well, it's a champagne problem, but someone who's lived that life, coming down and not doing that's really hard. And it's really an ego hit, and it's really mentally tough to tell your spouse we can't do that, or those things are tough conversations.
Okay.
If you're working towards your professional exams, or you're responsible for developing people in your business, it's worth knowing about Plannex training. Our focus is on helping people prepare properly, with clear structure, practical exam insight, and guidance grounded in real experience. We support individuals and organizations with training that turns knowledge into dependable capability, rather than just more content. You can find out more at plannex.co.uk/training, or follow Plannex Training on LinkedIn for ongoing insight.
We talked about the 3-year plan.
Yes.
Let's talk about the business.
Yes.
What's your thoughts? I mean, you've always since I've known you, juggle with this idea of lifestyle versus, I want to take over the world. Where you sat right now?
Well, we're definitely not going to take over the world. I think I'm comfortable with that. But we're not going to do a lifestyle business. I think that we have the capacity, we have the team, and we have the ability to grow. And so we're going to go for growth. And I think I don't want to be ashamed that we're going to try and grow. I think we want to do it. We want to push, and we want to develop, and we want our team to grow. And I think it's a bit of an evolution of our business. It's a bit of an evolution of me as a person, as a business owner, that we, lifestyle business at 40 years old is like, it is amazing. It would have been perfect, but I can't sit still enough for that. I think I need development and to be able to push on to grow. So we actually did some work with Rob Stevenson of Kingmakers. So shout out Rob. So again, if you think about it, one of the things that I've been interested in, we didn't have any of these things in place, and speaking it out loud and saying it just sounds insane, but we didn't really have any KPIs for the team. We didn't really have any like targets for them. Now, if you're a staff member, how do you know if you're doing well? How do you get bonused? We were bonusing, but Rob was like, well, you just pay them a bonus based on how you're feeling. And it's not, it's based on if the business has done well. But that's insane. We're not targeting them on anything. I wouldn't say it was embarrassing, but it was a little bit like, geez, we really need to sharpen up here. So we've put a load of work in place for the structure of the business. So how are we targeting them? What do we want to achieve for them to grow? Where they're growing and they're sitting here, what support do they need underneath them for them to grow and fulfill their potential? If I'm going to give them clients and I'm going to miss out on, the support of Emily, what do I need to support me to function? is Stevie, who's been doing a load of the operations of the business, is she better used coming in and being more hands-on the day-to-day, some of the, not necessarily the admin, but some of the stuff that happens day-to-day, because Emily gets bogged down, and really putting people in the right seats, and then saying, right, if we want to have, let's say we want to grow by 25 clients a year, how many leads do we have to see? What's our conversion rate? So we have done all of this work to say, right, we need 25 clients a year at 10 grand a client's 250 grand. Our conversion rate is about, I think it's about 30% of qualified leads, maybe a touch more. So fine, we need 75 leads. We need 6 leads a month. How are we getting those? How many have we got? Who's given us leads? How can we see them more efficiently? You know, we don't need thousands, so we just need to be a bit more strategic around who has given us leads, who has given us the qualified leads, what are we doing to nurture those relationships, how can we help those people, and some structure in the business. And doing it has really given me much more enthusiasm for where we're going, because now we can all see the path. It's like it seems so obvious in hindsight, but yeah, having Rob clarify that for us was really useful.
Sounds like you're growing up a bit.
Yeah, that's it.
It is that, isn't it?
It feels like
yeah,
it does.
It is that. You know, when you're running a business and you're doing all this stuff, you are kind of just mucking through, aren't you? You are just trying to do it to the best of your ability, all that. And sometimes you need that independent voice or that person from outside to just go, maybe you've just missed that one, and just look after your blind spots, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think we've come to a bit of an inflection point of the business. Like, if we don't look for growth, what are we doing? How are we helping the staff progress? Where are we going? Like, it came to that point where we really need to say, right, you need to grow up here. You need to have operational efficiency. And, you know, people say, Brett Davidson will say it, what's got you here won't get you there. You know, you get to that sticky middle between 1 and 2 million of revenue. You need the foundations of that business to grow. So yeah, that's been a project over the last 6 months that we've put in play. I think, I won't speak for all of the staff, but I think they all feel quite enthused that we've got this plan going forward. Everyone knows their roles. We need to fill a couple of hires that we spoke about. But we seem set for that growth path. You know, again, and being open-minded, if any acquisition opportunities come up, we will explore them. But for now, yeah, the path over the next, I would like to treble over 5 years if I can. The plan says double, but I think we can do better than that.
So when did you come to that conclusion? What was the turning point for you?
Yeah, we actually had a few offers to buy Engage, and the numbers look attractive on the surface, but we didn't feel that they were enough for us to you give up control for money. So firstly, I didn't think that I wanted to give up control and the money wasn't enough. So there's that. But also it was like, right, if they're valuing us at that now, and we don't think we fulfill potential, we can go and grow this, and then you just have more options. So I think that was the turning point. We had a couple of sort of opportunistic offers that came to us as a business, which we explored and we looked at, and we just felt there's more to the story. You know, we can do more. We can grow our value here bigger than if we were to, you know, be part of someone else and just go back to being a part of a larger machine that I don't think felt right for us.
What about buy-in from the family for this next stage? Have you had to have the conversation with the family to go, do you know what, we are going for it?
I don't think I've had buy-in from them. I think I've spoken to I've spoken to Laura about it. You know, my kids are older now. When I started the business, they were none. So my third wasn't born. My youngest was probably 3 and my oldest was 6. They're now nearly 14, 11, and nearly 8. They're past that real need stage for me. So I'm a little bit out of that where I can do more and I can go back to working maybe harder. But yeah, I don't think I really needed buy-in. I think they give me the freedom. My fundamental life views of that I want to be around for kids and I want to go to football and I want to pick up from school, that stuff is still non-negotiable. That won't change. So I don't think they thought, oh, he's going to be, we're not going to see that just wouldn't happen. Because again, priorities wise, they're still number one priority. You know, I want the business to grow, but I wouldn't sacrifice my time or my family. There's no chance of that. So yeah, I don't think they were worried, and that's why I don't think I needed any buy-in, because they know that deep down that's more important to me.
Okay, so a few questions to finish. We've been here for a while now.
Oh, I could keep going. This is
Yeah,
fun.
we know. We'll get you back. If people like you, we'll get you back. So,
All right, let's
so vote for Sam. Biggest mistake in Engage?
Biggest mistake. Yeah, I don't really know. You sent that through on the questions, so Adam kindly sent some questions through.
Which I've completely ignored.
I don't think there's been a massive mistake. I really don't. I think there's a series of small things that we could have done differently. I think
What irritates you, or what has irritated you?
the biggest thing that irritates me is the having to go back and review our fees consistently. That is a ball ache that I would probably change. Like I said, if I went back, I wouldn't do fixed fees. I'd do percentage, ratcheting down, and I'd never think about it again. And that would be bliss. It would. If you ask Stevie, she would say the operational admin pain in the backside that she has, that would be the big change we would make. But I don't think it's a mistake.
Not a mistake, no.
That sounds. It's not a mistake. It's just something we.
Well, you
would
built
change.
a good business that way.
Yeah, like we've been quite lean. We've been quite one of the things I'm most proud of is that we haven't changed massively. Sorry, not as people. We are just focused on growing a good business and not, you can get derailed with the loads of shiny things, which I often do, but I've generally not done any of the big changes or any of the, because I've just been focused on growing the business. And actually, it's nearly 10 years of just doing the same thing over and over again and trying to do it better. That I'm proud that we haven't been derailed by any of that stuff.
What do you believe that others don't? It's a great question, this.
Ooh.
What's one thing in the profession that you are passionate about that maybe others would disagree with?
Oh, wow. Others would disagree with. I'm not sure. I think, again, I want to say that we're not as important as other people think, but I think we have financial planning is a brilliant business, sustainable, helpful, income generating. We do good things for people, but I don't think we are, the bedrock of people's lives that I hear people say, and it cringes me out when I hear that, but that's okay for them to think, again, each to their own. It's just, I think people value us and people really like us. I think they would, they would do okay on their own. They might not do as well. People talk about themselves like if their business didn't exist, their clients would be, like, I don't know, under a railway bridge or something. These are successful people, bright people. They've done well. They do better with us for sure. Data backs it up, but we aren't the be all and end all. That's probably counterintuitive.
Last question from me, and then I'll let you ask some difficult questions. Bitcoin, yes or no?
Yes, to a degree. Again, it's like, does it do anything? No. Would I have some exposure to it? Yes. Am I all in on Bitcoin? Absolutely not. It's just one of those weird things. Yeah, have some exposure to it, but don't go all in.
Yeah. Do you want to put some on the spot for anything?
Yeah, I can do. Okay. What about best speaker you've seen on a stage?
Oh, Daniel Priestley's my favourite speaker. I resonate with everything he says, so it's like preaching to the choir. But best speaker is the guy from Dimensional, whose name I forget.
David Jones?
David Swanwick.
Oh, Swanwick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Swanwick is just...
Dimensional, great, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I would disagree with most people about is, Dimensional are great. I love Dimensional. But again, people drink the Kool-Aid and are Dimensional blinkers on as if there's no... And one of the things that actually kills me, you got me going here.
Here we go.
Dimensional. They call themselves active passive, which is like, it makes no sense at all. I love Dimensional, but active passive just doesn't make any sense. You're either one or the other. It's bizarre. It's just a marketing ploy. I like Dimensional. We use them, but they aren't. yeah,
Swanee's great there. I'm pleased you said that as well, because I've just been chatting to him about I'm chatting to him about his talk at our conference next year. So
he's amazing. Yeah, it's like so
class.
smooth.
Yeah,
top speaker.
very good.
Last piece of advice for anyone listening.
Last piece of advice: just try and enjoy it. Try and enjoy. I say to loads of clients, like, we are in the midst of. We will look back at this period and say, this is like when we were at it. We were golden years. We've got kids. We've got businesses. We're seeing people. We're impacting. This is what you will look back on in your life and be like, those were the years. Like, those were the days. Yeah. So try and enjoy it. Try and appreciate it. Try and be grateful. It's really difficult at the moment. Sentiment in the UK is terrible. Everyone's negative. But the negativity doesn't reflect what I see on a day-to-day. You know, like, people come back from a 2-week holiday in Bahamas and tell me how negative it is. It's like, you've been in Bahamas for 2 weeks. You live in a great life. I think people should just be a little bit more, thankful for what we got rather than worried about what we don't have.
Look, Sam, awesome. Obviously, you're hiring. If you're in Sam's family or a best friend, you've obviously go straight to the top of the queue. But yeah, look, you've shared everything. I don't think you've held anything back. As I say, if you want Sam back on, vote yes. But awesome, mate.
No, listen, guys. I said to you when we had lunch that I feel like I disconnected from the Plannex Next Gen community for whatever reason. Mainly it was because we moved from Slack, and I can't work out how the new channel works. But I thoroughly enjoyed, seeing you both, and I love the business, how it's evolved, and yeah, it's been thoroughly enjoyable to see you guys grow. Thank you for having me on. If anyone wants to say anything, connect. I'm around. I'm pretty accessible, so appreciate the opportunity.
Nice
one.